Hello, everyone. I'm Don Palmer, Vice President of Sales for Signature Back Office Solutions, and welcome to the next session of our LinkedIn Live series. Today's topic is 5 steps to building an 8-figure staffing agency. And before I introduce today's guest speaker, I want to remind you that Signature is all about helping small to medium-sized staffing, consulting, or professional services companies grow. And we do that by offering all the necessary back office services to run smooth operations for our clients. This is so they can focus on finding and placing talent for their clients. And not only do we take care of these operational support services, but we also provide the funding, the needed funding for payroll, as well as gross profit advances on billings. And that's gross profit advances on billings, not paid invoices. Now, let me introduce today's guest. Her name is Diane Prince. Diane started her first niche staffing agency in her house. She grew it to multiple 8 figures and then sold it to a public company for $28 million. Since then, she has co-founded, built, and exited several staffing and recruiting companies and helped multiple entrepreneurs across the country build their agencies. And then on a personal note, share some fun things. After raising her 3 daughters on the beach in Malibu, California, she moved to Phoenix, Arizona to enjoy urban life near family and friends. And Diane is an avid hiker and reader. She recently completed the Tour de Mont Blanc. That trail is 110 miles across France, Italy, and Switzerland at the base of Mount Blanc, which, Diane, I've actually done a part of that, not the whole thing. And I know how arduous it is. So
Amazing.
kudos to you for completing that whole thing. Thank you
Yeah,
for joining us today, and welcome.
absolutely, Don. Great to be here.
All right, so as I said earlier, today's topic is 5 steps to building an 8-figure staffing agency. I'm going to dive right in. Can you start by giving us a little of your backstory? What inspired you to launch your own staffing agency and eventually scale it and exit it for 8 figures?
Well, most people say, I mean, what about when you hear people ask that question or ask, how do you get into staffing? Most people say, I fell into it, right?
Uh-huh.
I did
Uh-huh.
not. I got into it really intentionally. So we decided in our 20s that we wanted, when I say we, this was me and my then husband, we decided that we wanted to build a business we had no experience at all. Like, I was teaching French, and and then I was on a temp assignment, and we thought, well, what if we could build a business that we could actually grow and sell and
Mhm.
retire in our 30s? And then we started thinking about what kind of business could do that for us. Like, what kind of business could we start that would actually do that? And through a whole series of events, we came upon a temp agency for title insurance.
Oh, that's very specific, and I know we're going to get into your thoughts about a niche and a focus, and I'm really interested to hear about that. But before we dive in, can you enumerate at a high level what are these 5 steps that you're referring to for doing
Yeah.
the building?
So the first step ties into that beginning part of my story, which is vision, which is having the idea of why you want to build your company, why you want to build a business, and what you want to get out of it. So that really helps to decide what business model you want to do, and it also helps to keep you on the path
Hmm.
when you want to give up, to keep on. And when I work with clients, like, I coach clients, and when I work with clients, always the first step is getting really clear on your vision, and then
Hmm.
revising that, looking at that every quarter and making sure that you're still on track. Because if you're an entrepreneur, it's not an easy thing, and you want to make sure that you build your business based on the life that you want to live,
Hmm.
not the other way around.
Yeah, I've heard that like 2 different opposite perspectives may be, hey, I want a lifestyle business. It's kind of what it sounded like you were almost alluding to, versus, hey, I want to really build and grow something significant, substantial. So, different perspectives, but what's important to you? Well, can you share a specific example about how defining your exit vision shaped critical decisions early in your own business journey?
Yeah, absolutely. And at the beginning, and we'll talk about this, like at the beginning, we were crazy. Like we knew nothing. It was pretty crazy. So, but knowing that vision, what it helped us do, one thing it helped us stay in the business because we knew that was our goal. And it also helped us to after the first couple of years, every quarter we met with an investment banker who was going to be the person that eventually helped us to sell the business. So we had an advisory board so that we went to them every quarter and said, okay, here's where we're at now. What do we need to do next? So that was the first step is vision. And then if you want me to go into the next step.
Please, let's move to this step two.
Okay. Step two is niche. Okay.
Yeah.
The deeper that you get into a niche, from my experience, the bigger you will expand. It's kind of counterintuitive. A lot of people are afraid of niching. They're afraid of losing. Well, what will my current client say? Or what will, I'm afraid I'm going to not be able to get this business. No, niches, you can look at niche too as a front end issue, meaning niche will help you with your messaging, will help you to be an expert in what you do. It's so the second, and our niche was so tied in. I mean, we started with title and temp agency for title insurance.
That's very focused, very focused.
So, and the other thing I'll say about niche is choose something that choose the easiest niche for you. It's a lot of people are shy away from things that seem too easy or obvious because it seems too easy or obvious. But like for us, my dad was in title insurance for 35 years. Okay. And he got my husband a job in title insurance. So we had access. My dad introduced us to the head of HR at Chicago Title Insurance Company. So we had that access. So I recently worked with a client who had heard that healthcare staffing was a great thing to do. Well, he had no experience. He was struggling. He heard from some coach who so he was really struggling. But this guy was a former school principal and he had hired teachers. And so finally he's like, okay, I get it. He started focusing on education and he's already gotten the first 45 days, he's already gotten 3 contracts and it's in the middle of the summer. So it's so when you choose a niche, and I do have, when you go on, and we can post my link tree, or it's on my LinkedIn when you go to my links, but I do have a 9-step worksheet, 9-step process on finding your niche.
Okay. That is so on target and resonates with my own experience in the staffing and consulting world. I started right out of school, right out of college as a programmer for IBM, and then got into IT consulting and staffing. And the one thing you didn't mention that I'll add, that having that background and that niche focus gives you credibility, very high credibility with the candidates you work with and with the client set that you work with. All right, so you've got some tools that can help folks figure out their niche. Let's maybe talk about step 2, which is scale smarter, not harder. You talk about this. What do you mean in the context of staffing, and how could agency owners apply this practically?
Yeah, because scaling, so when we started, it was and when I look back about how we started, it was pretty crazy. And to think that we did not do things right. And we were in this cockroach infested house that we rented because it was close to our target clients, and people had to walk through, our neighbor's yard was an appliance graveyard. They had to walk through all these things. So the first couple of years really were a lot of flying by the seat of our pants. And then once we started, we put in systems, which was part of systems in scaling. Now there are so many things that we didn't do that I believe if we did, we would have grown exponentially. We would have, if looking at how we did it, and it's kind of unbelievable that we sold for $28 million from how in 6 years. But it's then put the systems in place. One is get an employer of record, like signature. You put everything in place. For us, that looked like finally getting an ATS. Finally, we did move out of the house. We had an office. We set up a war room with whiteboards. We started knowing our numbers. I stopped doing QuickBooks and we hired someone to be doing our accounting. So so you have to have your systems in place in order to scale. I mean, scaling means adding on, keep, exponentially in your business without adding on a lot of overhead or new employees and things like that. So scaling is really, that's step 3.
And you've talked to me before about your A-team model and how share with me how that helps agency owners free up time and still grow revenue.
Yeah. And I mean, this goes to the next step is team, which was so important in having the right team. It's unbelievable to me how many people they keep people that are not doing a great job. Like, you cannot build an exceptional business with mediocre performers, and people will feel bad. They're nice. They like them. So really that is an element that is so incredibly important. You have to have a high performing team. So back then when I had the business that we're talking about, we had people in person, but nowadays, I mean, the evolution of team, you can do so much. I mean, you can build a multi-million-dollar staffing agency with founder, a good back office support, and an offshore team. So that's what I realized is like my entire business now, which is a staffing agency specializing in recruiting and staffing. So we place everybody, like all the back office people, marketing, sales, biz dev, lead gen, sourcing, and we do it with an offshore team, or we find you offshore people. And just like it's so important to have the right people in the right seats here, so important to have the right team. It's so important, no matter where they are in the world, to have the right person. So it's exciting now, the way that the world works, how much we can scale just as small businesses and compete. If you have that tight niche as well, you can compete with multinationals by using, and that's what we do with A-Team. So we have integrators, project managers. So we really do all of everything else so that a founder can do the things that they want to do that are in their zone of genius. And we have great sourcers too to find candidates.
Yeah, you remind me of a saying that our CEO at Signature has that I like to quote sometimes, that we enable our clients to, quote, punch above their weight. They can play with the heavy hitters because they've got this back office support that we provide. They don't have to mess with any of that, and they can focus on what, like you just said, they want to do, like finding talent and placing talent for their clients. Okay, you say you've got a saying that says, "Build a team that lets you go." Can you talk about what this means and why it's essential for founders who want to scale and then maybe have that vision to eventually exit, have some type of equity type of event?
Yeah, I love it. I think my team wrote that, but it makes a lot of sense.
Good writers.
So build a team that lets you go. So I mean, what that means to me is, like, for me, I wanted to build a team so that, like, my business now, my vision was, okay, what if I can build a team where I am only doing the things that I love to do and that are the highest impact for me. So that's what it means, is like, let me, I articulate my vision to my team. I revise my vision every 90 days. I tell my team they're all offshore. They're in India, they're in the Philippines, and they make it happen. So that's you have to have a team that you can rely on. And if somebody's not working out, you have to be able to make a change. You have to be willing to make a change. And also, one more thing I would say about team is that also ties back to the vision part, because you want to make sure that the key players on your team, that they have a compelling reason to be in your business. Okay. And that's it. They don't have to be passionate about, like, nobody's passionate about finding people for title insurance companies. Maybe they are. I don't know. I think it would be weird. But so you want to find people who have a specific reason, and that your opportunity, your business, is a vehicle to get them to where they want to go. And then that's going to keep them tied into your
You piqued my curiosity. Can you give me, I'm going to come put you on the spot here, a specific example where you gave that reason for someone, you really pressed that red hot button for them, that, hey, I'm placing title insurance people. That's not the most exciting thing, but I'm excited about this, and here's why.
Yeah. I mean, with the title insurance business. So my husband and I, our goal was to build it and get out. Okay. And then and then I got pregnant with our first baby. I was on bed rest for 10 weeks because I was working 12-hour days. I didn't even realize I was in preterm labor. So at that point, we said, okay, we need someone else on the executive team. The guy we brought in, and another thing we did is we had everybody who had key roles invested in the company. So,
Yeah.
and also, like, side note, it's because we had no cash.
Yeah. Okay.
And so we had people come in and they put money in the company. So that was one thing that kept them in. But also
Yes.
our first key executive that we brought in, his goal, he had two goals. One was to be a member of YPO, Young Presidents Organization. So he needed a certain title for that. Our business qualified. We didn't even know what it was. So we're like, okay, fine. And then the second thing was he wanted to be the CEO of a publicly traded staffing agency. So
Okay.
totally different goals, but they aligned, and that's what
Uh-huh.
ended up happening. So we all ended up getting what we wanted
That's a
because
great example. Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
It is. It really is. Well, all right. Let's move to step 5. Stay the course. I love that because I'm a big believer in persistence. Really is 80% plus of accomplishment. But you've shared a quote with me, or maybe your writers, your staff shared this quote with me, but I love it. Success resets. Focus is how you win again. So, what challenges have you faced with staying focused, and how do you coach others? Because I know you do a lot of coaching. That's how
Mhm.
I've actually found out about you and met you, is through the coaching that you do. How do you coach others through these pivotal moments of doubt or distraction?
Yeah, and it still goes back to vision. So keep looking at your vision, keep revising your vision statement. And I know I have an exercise on that too. So I think that's also on my link tree, so that there's a self-coaching tool where you can define your vision. But it really goes, it's could be called, it's discipline really, because entrepreneurs, I'm no exception to this, can be really susceptible to shiny object syndrome. We want to build, like we love to build. And so it's really easy to start other business lines, or, I'll work with coaching clients who every single week they want to try something new, and they don't get off the ground. They really like, okay, I'm gonna do some
Yeah.
career coaching too, or I'm in build an ATS. Like that happens too. So
Yeah.
really, like,
Yeah.
I mean, and we did it. We started a school where we tried to teach escrow assistants. Well, no one wanted to pay a fee for that. We figured that out after we had a space, we had a director, we had,
Yeah.
invested a lot of money into it. So really keep on, can be the hardest thing, is the discipline. So if you're thinking about adding things, step back. Why are you doing it? What is your vision? Maybe find exciting things to do outside of your business. And also,
Hmm.
it's a lot of people get bored and they want to start another business. Well, just because you were successful once, it's like going up to the poker table again. So remember your business. If you are having a successful business, this is probably, it's a good thing. So just
Yeah.
when things get boring, as they will, once you're into that like mature and growth stage, things can get boring. It's the same like with sales. Sales are monotonous, they're repetitive, they can be boring. So know that stage, if you're not in that stage, know that it will come. And
Hmm.
remember to stay the course, keep doing what works, and keep that discipline, and go back to your vision so that you're staying the course until you get to your end goal.
Excellent. All right, let's start moving toward wrapping up with some takeaways and key points. What's one myth about scaling a staffing agency that you'd like to debunk for everyone right now?
That how difficult it is with compliance and payroll because of you guys. I mean, I know this is like might seem like, I mean, it is a plug, because it's like, I mean, that's one thing people just don't know. I talk to a lot of direct hire people who don't know about staffing, or I get a lot of people who say we're going to just start with direct hire and then we'll add staffing later. Don't do that. I mean, we just started from staffing. I didn't even know what workers' comp meant or payroll taxes. I mean, so,
Hmm. Hmm.
and we figured it out. Now I would if I did it again, similarly, I would use a partner like Signature, because we spent a lot of money and we got in a lot of trouble with compliance and things like that. We had a big
Yes.
back office. I mean, even like, yeah, it was a mess. So I would tell people it's not harder. It's not more it can be different. And if you just learn, and I teach people how to talk, how to sell, but you're typically often talking to the same buyers.
Exactly.
And you're walking away. If you are not doing staffing, it's probably because it's something you just don't know. So I would
Yeah.
really encourage people to do it from the beginning, even if you're still doing direct hire, make that the icing on the cake. And staffing is what's going to keep the doors open. What's going to build your
Mhm.
business as an asset. And even if you're
Yes.
not looking to exit, you still want to build an asset for yourself. People call me when they're later on in life and they've just been doing direct hire and they've nothing to show for it, and it's so sad. And
Yes.
you don't know, you don't even know if the jobs you're placing are still going to be relevant in 5 years. So you always
Right.
have to be agile and nimble. But I can't stress enough, figure out that way. If it's staffing or something else, figure out how you're going to get that recurring revenue. And staffing, one more thing about staffing, because I just love it, is you're actually doing something that your clients can't really do for themselves, right? Like they can't really have,
Right.
there's been so many lawsuits about internal temps. So it's not like in direct hire, it's easy for clients to say, oh, we decided to take it in house. It's
Mhm.
not the same with staffing. It's a whole different thing. You're really embedded into your
Yeah.
client.
Yeah, wow, that was really well said. And Diane, when I talk to some of our clients that are wrestling with the decision about getting into contracting, and they have some fears, even some hesitations, and but your clients need you. I try to encourage them in that way. You're probably already doing a great job for them on the direct hire needs, right?
Mhm.
They're looking to you to help them, and we can help you help them because we take all those insurance and compliance worries off your plate. We take on all that so that you can just focus on finding their talent and placing the talent that they need. All right.
Yeah.
I know that you're presenting on this topic as a keynote at the upcoming Colorado Staffing Association event. What's one thing you hope every attendee at that event will walk away with as oh, I got that one really excellent point from Diane today?
What I really hope is that, and I get this a lot when people talk to me, they say, I didn't actually think about building an 8-figure business until I heard you talk. I want everybody to walk away with, now I believe that entrepreneurship is creative and that's what makes it fun. So I'm not going to tell anybody this is how you need to run your business. I think it's exciting for everybody to do it their way, which I encourage for people to do it their way. I want everybody to get out just that one nugget, and I don't know what it'll be because it'll be different for each person. I want everybody to get at least one nugget or one different way to open up their minds and look at their business, because there's going to be things I did that aren't going to work, or people are going to be like, nah, I'm not going to do that. But that they get one nugget. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. I hadn't thought about
Mhm.
it this way. And one new perspective of looking at their business that's going to inspire them and know that they can do it.
Good. Yeah. All right. And finally, where can people go to learn more about your coaching and your A team services?
Yes. Well, LinkedIn, I'm kind of all over the place. LinkedIn, YouTube. If you just go to dianeprince.co, then that's my website. You can learn everything. Or on my LinkedIn, if you click on you'll see my link tree and all the different things I offer. If you Google me, I have to say, so you're going to see I'm the one that's not Wonder Woman. She's Diana Prince, and I'm not Lady Di. I'm the one who's not a princess or a superhero.
Okay. Okay. All right. Wonderful. Thank you again, Diane, for joining today. Thank you for your helpful insights. And thank all of you in the audience for attending today's session. Make it a great day, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.